So, I just had a conversation with someone who is known around the world for leaking smartphones early, and from it I've got some really interesting exclusive information about the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Pro. And we're going to get to all of it, but first of all, what is already common knowledge is that the Note 10 will be in a lot of ways based on the S10, but better. And at this point, we're also pretty sure that this means multiple models. You might remember last year, Samsung released two primary flagship phones, the S9 and the S9 Plus. And then at the end of the year, they released one phone, their finale, the Galaxy Note 9. But this year, they've gone from 2 to 4 primary flagship smartphones, and it's looking like they're going from 1 to at least 3 phones in their Note lineup. Take a look at this tweet. It's from renowned leaker Ice Universe. He mentions the product codename, but more interestingly, the words Note 10 Pro 4G, which tells us two things. That there's probably going to be a base version of the Note 10, followed by a Pro model with 4G, like we saw with the S10 Plus, but then an even more souped up version with 5G. Some leaks are even suggesting there's going to be another, smaller Note 10 phone alongside these three, which would make 4 devices in total. Ice Universe also mentions a massive 4,500 mAh battery and 25 watt fast charging, which, seems reasonable considering that Samsung has other devices already that can do this. But here's where it gets interesting. After posting this tweet, Ice Universe then follows up saying that the 25 watt fast charging is probably the wrong message, which is disappointing because of course Samsung could probably do with a bit of a boost when it comes to charging speed. So I sent him a message. I asked if he knew any more about the Note 10 than he'd shared already, and it turns out he does. The first thing he said was that he retracted his original statement, not because the Pro's charging power is going to be less than 25 watts, but because it's going to be more. So from that, we can be pretty sure that the Note 10 Pro is going to be the fastest charging Samsung phone ever. It could be 30 watt charging, it could be 50 watt charging. The final number just kind of depends on how many resources Samsung puts towards it. The second thing is that, in addition, the Note 10 has only one hole, which is smaller than the S10. And this kind of lines up perfectly with something he publicly mentioned earlier. So on April 25th, he tweeted that DaVinci is symmetrical, completely cryptic and pretty meaningless, until you realize that DaVinci is the code name of this phone. And so he's told us that there's going to be a punch hole, he's told us that the design is going to be symmetrical. And so assuming this is true, you're going to see a small cutout in the middle, which is not my preferred position, but depending on how small they can make it, it might just blend into your status bar. The final detail I got from Ice Universe is the fact that there's going to be a large change on the back. And the way I see it, this could mean a few different things. Number one, a new type of finish, some sort of new texture or new gradient that we've not seen before. Number two, it could be a big change to the cameras, maybe the addition of a time of flight sensor on all models of the phone, or maybe a more powerful camera zoom. Or number three is a potential rearrangement of the camera module. If you compare the Galaxy S8 Plus to the Note 8, then the Galaxy S9 Plus to the Note 9, you can see that each time the Note has adopted a new shape to the camera module, so that's completely possible again here. It would help to visually differentiate these new phones from their S10 lineup. Now, there are also a couple of wacky theories about the Note 10, that it might ditch physical buttons altogether in place of virtual buttons that still give you haptic feedback, which, to be fair, could be quite interesting. It might mean that you're able to adjust the position of buttons and decide which ones you want to keep and which ones you don't. There's also been talk about having the front camera instead built into the S Pen, which is one of those crazy ideas which grows on you the more you think about it. It could mean no punch hole at all on the front of the phone, but yeah, I don't buy it, apart from the fact that the processing power needed to take these photos is housed in the smartphone itself and not the pen. Could you imagine how fiddly it would be to try and fiddle around with a stylus to take a photo? Anyways, the general specs of the Note 10 Pro are shaping up to be, as you can probably imagine, beastly. Aside from what we've already mentioned, it's going to have 8 gigs of RAM on the base model, going up to 12, a 6.75-inch Quad HD Plus AMOLED display, and the Snapdragon 855 if you're in the US, or Exynos equivalent in other regions. And there is actually talk of Samsung using an upgraded Exynos chip, compared to the one we saw in the S10, which wouldn't be like a complete next-generation makeover, but would be at least enough to put the two versions on par, because when it comes to the S10, the Exynos version was noticeably less good than the Snapdragon one. Anyways, as soon as I get some more information, I will try and get you guys another exclusive update, so if you could subscribe for that, That'd be amazing. Also, just bear in mind that whilst the stuff in this video is looking quite likely right now based on the sources, you can never be sure. We're still very much in the leaks and rumours phase. As always, my name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you in the next one.